Okay, guys, so let's go ahead. Remember, I told you that I was going to change the the story. So on your Google form, you're going to have what's already on here. But since I was videotaping, I had to change the story. So, okay. The first story is called Odyssey's Long Trip Home. Okay. So it says, let's start off by reading. Sorry, guys. After the fall of Troy, Odyssey, hero of Troy was known back in the Greek mythology world. If you don't know, Odysseus, hero of the Trojan War, and his men seek to return home, but after angering Poseidon, the god of the sea. So Poseidon is one of the gods of Greece, right? During this time, he was the god of the sea, and you should know this based on like the stories that you read, like Poseidon, Percy Jackson, and we know that Poseidon was his father, right? Okay. The journey home is anything but smooth. Miller retells the epic story of Odysseus' voyage across the sea. And so in this passage, we read about Troy. We read about Poseidon, which is the god of the sea, right? We read about the hero of the Trojan War, right? And so I know that the only genre that includes gods, goddesses, kings, queens is are myths, right? And so this genre must be a myth. And we're going to go ahead and write that. Okay? And how do you know? I know. Remember, we always start off by saying, I know, because in a complete sentence. I know because the passage includes gods and goddesses, as well as important Greek figures. Okay. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and continue. We're talking about Blue Hen Chicks. That's the name of the passage. Let's go ahead and read it and mark it up. Okay. All right. A Delaware man went to war during the American Revolution. For entertainment, he brought with him two fighting roosters. When asked about these chickens, the soldier said slyly, "They are the chicks of a blue hen I have at home." Well, these roosters, notice how I'm not marking up anything yet because nothing really seems out of the ordinary. So I'm just reading until I get some clues, okay? So it's okay for you not to mark up until you get clues. While these roosters could fight, they were so fierce they caused quite a stir amongst the men. It did not take long for the Delaware troops to begin boasting among the troops from the other states that they could outfight anyone, just like those famous fighting roosters. So first of all, this kind of seems kind of strange because I'm not really too, I don't really know like if roosters can fight. So this seems kind of strange. So this is what I'm actually going to underline, is how these roosters are fighting. Okay. It says, just like those famous fighting roosters, we're the Blue Hen Chickens. We will fight to the end became the theme of the Delaware troops. The other troops took to the calling the men from Delaware the Blue Hen Chicks. And to this day, Delaware is known as the Blue Hen State. And so we know that there's a real state called Delaware, and the theme of Delaware is the Blue Hen State. But That is not the story of how Delaware got their motto, right? We know that roosters don't fight. We know that they're not fighting against chickens, right? That's not a thing. And so to me, that seems like a really, really big exaggeration of how something real became about. Okay. And so we know that an exaggeration of like something that is real is definitely a tall tale. So I want you guys to really, really concentrate on these because I know that like tall tales in particular can be a little difficult. But if you always go back to the board equals paper and do like process of elimination to try to figure out, okay, it's not a fable, it's not a myth, so it must be a tall tale, right? Okay, and so how do I know? I know because the passage includes an exaggeration of how Delaware received their state's name. Okay? All right, so let's move on to our guided practice. Okay. All right, and so for the guided practice, guys, we know that this is a time where you can pause the video and try to do it on your own. Try to do it on your own and then come back to see if you were correct. Okay? So let's go ahead and continue working. So I'm going to go ahead and get my markers so that while we are reading, we can mark up the text. So the name of the text is called Pandora's Box. The father of all gods, Zeus. I'm going to underline that because that is extremely important. Zeus, we know, is like the god of all of the gods. He controls all of the Greek gods in Greek mythology, okay? He gave Pandora a little box with a big, heavy lock on it. He made her promise never to open the box. He gave the key to Pandora's husband, Epimetheus. That's kind of hard. I think so. And I told him to never open the box. Zeus was sure that Epimetheus, I know that's probably not how you pronounce it, don't judge me, curiosity would get the better of him and that either him or his brother would open the box. Pandora was very curious. She wanted to see what was inside the box, but Epimetheus said, no, better not. You know your father, he decided, referring to Zeus. So Pandora is a goddess because she is the daughter of Zeus, right? He's a tricky one. One day when I'm just going to call him E, lay sleeping, Pandora stole the key and opened the box. Out flew every kind of disease and sickness, hate and envy, and all the bad things that people had never experienced before. Pandora slammed the lid closed, but it was too late. All the bad things were already out of the box. They flew away out into the world. E woke up at the sound of her sobbing. I opened the box and all these ugly things flew out, she cried. I tried to catch them, but they all got out. However, her tears couldn't help the other humans. From that day forward, they began to experience the pain that came from the terrible things that emerged from Pandora's box. So guys, I don't know if you think of like the same, if your parents say like, we're not about to open Pandora's box. Like that's like it's a saying that some people say like, we're not even going to touch that, right? Because if you touch it, all these crazy stuff is going to come out. So this is the story behind what opening Pandora's box means. And so when we think about this, when we think about the clues, we know that Zeus is in here. And if Zeus is in a story, we already know that it must be a myth because Zeus is the god of all gods, right? Pandora is his daughter, right? This is a myth about how Pandora's box became a thing. So we know that this must be a myth just based on the clues that we discovered. Okay, and then it says, how do you know? I know because the passage includes Zeus, who is the god of all gods, and tells something about how the world works. So it's basically a myth. Like, we know myths are not true. And so the fact that, like, there are diseases and sickness and hate and envy, those did not come from Pandora opening her box. Like, that's something that's totally not true. And so this is a myth. So now, guys, has come to the lesson where this is your independent practice. This is the time for you to stop and for you to do it on your own. Once you do it on your own, you can have your parent check. You can have anyone in the in your house check to see if you were right. Then you go to your exit ticket. So please know, guys, that in my class, you have your classwork and then you have your exit ticket. There are two separate things. Classwork is for you to follow along with me, just like how we do in class. We rip off the exit ticket. The exit ticket is always last, right? So you do your classwork first. The exit ticket is totally separate. And so I am definitely going to be checking your classwork this week to see who watched the video, because I want to see who, and checking your exit ticket. Those questions that everything that I did throughout the video is important for you to answer your exit ticket, okay? So if you have any questions, you know what to do. Good to see you guys. Toodles.